Under the pale moonlight, when the world slips into stillness, your heart still screams beneath the weight of nameless burdens. Worries press on your shoulders like stones, old memories chain your steps like shackles, and closed doors make you wonder, is there any light at the end of this road? But in that trembling moment, a gentle whisper rises from the depths of your soul. Let go and place everything in my hands. It's not a call to give up, but an invitation to find peace, a profound peace that surpasses all storms, where God awaits you with open arms, ready to turn ashes into beauty, sorrow into songs of hope. Under the fading sunset in the suburbs, as the small roads leading home begin to sink into silence, there are moments when your heart seems to pause, weighed down by burdens you can't quite name. It's the echo of stacked bills on the kitchen table, phone calls from loved ones bearing bad news, or memories of days gone by when you stood at life's crossroads and wondered, where did I go wrong? On long nights, when the clock strikes 2 a.m, you lie awake, eyes wide open, listening to the wind slip through the window, feeling as though the weight of the world is pressing on your chest. Anxiety, like stones stuffed into your coat pockets, makes every step heavier, and your shoulders have been trembling for a long time, though you still manage to smile through the endless days. There are afternoons when you sit on the backyard bench watching the neighbors' kids ride their bikes past, and your heart suddenly aches for the dreams that once burned brightly but have now faded. The plans you sketched out, a cozy home, a stable career, or far-off trips with a loved one, now seem like shattered puzzle pieces scattered in the drawer of memory. You've worked hard, stayed up late, woken early, sacrificed weekends for your family, yet it still feels like everything is slipping through your fingers. Unspoken questions repeat themselves. Have I done enough? Is it too late to start over? And in that moment, as the last rays of sunlight filter through the trees, you feel a weariness, not just in your body, but deep within your soul. Yet in the midst of those seemingly suffocating moments, there's a gentle whisper, like a breeze passing through, stirring your heart. It doesn't promise to erase all difficulties instantly or guarantee that every door will open, but it carries a tender invitation. Lay down those burdens and let me carry them for you. It's not a rebuke or a demand to be stronger, but a comfort, like a warm hand resting on your shoulder, reminding you that you don't have to face the world alone. That whisper comes from a place deeper than everyday worries, from a being who has seen you in the days you laughed with joy and the nights you wept in silence. This life, with its bills, stressful meetings, fractured relationships, or unfulfilled dreams, can easily make you think you must hold on tightly, control every outcome. But what happens when your hands grow weary, when your heart cries out that it can't carry another stone? Perhaps that's the sacred moment when you stand at your own crossroads and realize not every burden is yours to bear. Some things, fear of failure, the pain of the past, or anxiety about the future, were never meant to be carried forever. They are invisible chains binding you to what's gone, making you forget that light and hope still lie ahead. In the early mornings, as you brew coffee and gaze out the window, watching dawn creep through the leaves, a simple yet powerful truth awaits you. You don't need to be the hero of every story, fix every crack, or keep everything in place. There's a greater being, with hands steadier than you can imagine, ready to lift those burdens from your shoulders. And when you dare to let go even just a little, you'll feel a miraculous space open in your soul room to breathe, to hope, and to remember you're not alone. This journey doesn't begin with hurried steps or grand decisions. It starts in a quiet moment, perhaps tonight, as you sit by the window listening to distant birdsong, letting your heart settle. That's when you can whisper without fancy words. Simply, Lord, I'm tired. I don't know what to do. Please take these things from me. And in that surrender, you'll find that not every problem vanishes, but a gentle peace, like moonlight on a dark road, guides you forward step by step with a lighter heart. As the moonlight fades and darkness cloaks the narrow road home, you sit by the window, a cold coffee cup in hand. The ticking clock reminds you, time waits for no one, and the burdens you carry, unspoken words, unfinished dreams, worries stacked like papers on your desk, still weigh heavy on your heart. But in that quiet moment, when your heart feels on the verge of breaking from holding it all, a simple yet powerful truth dawns like the first star in the sky: you don't have to carry everything. There's a greater, steadier hand waiting to lift those stones from your shoulders if only you dare to let go. Letting go isn't giving up. It's not turning your back on dreams, family, or yourself. No, letting go is an act of courage, like opening a fist clenched too long, letting your breath flow freely, your soul lighten. It's standing before unpaid bills, fractured relationships, or sleepless nights of worry and whispering, "Lord, I can't do this alone." That isn't surrender to failure, but surrender to a being who knows your path even when you see only darkness ahead. The world out there, with its rushing cars on highways, noisy news on TV, or hurried glances in the supermarket, often tells you strength means holding tight, controlling, fighting endlessly. But you've felt in quiet moments on your porch, listening to leaves rustle in the autumn breeze, that true strength lies not in a clenched fist, but in an open heart. That strength isn't loud like thunder or dazzling like fireworks, but gentle like cool water-cleansing wounds. It's the sound of chains hitting the ground, of invisible ropes, worry, regret, fear being cut, letting you walk with lighter steps. Some afternoons, driving familiar roads, an old hymn playing softly on the radio, you recall simpler days. But even in those memories, there are things you've carried too long. Blame you haven't forgiven, pain you haven't released, or dreams you think it's too late to chase. You've tried fixing everything from family arguments to work mistakes, but sometimes you realize not everything needs your repair. Some burdens aren't yours, and holding them only tires your heart like a ship overloaded, swaying in the storm. In those moments, sitting alone, watching streetlights glow through the glass, a sacred invitation rises not from the noisy world, but from deep within your soul. It's the voice of a being who saw you in joyful days with family and silent nights of loss. "Let me carry these," he whispers like a gentle father embracing a weary child. And when you dare to respond, even with a brief prayer in the dark, "Lord, please take care of this," you'll feel a miraculous shift. Not every problem vanishes, not every question is answered, but a space opens in your heart like a window, letting in dawn, allowing hope to slip through. Letting go isn't a one-time act. It's a choice you make daily, moment by moment. It might be deciding not to let financial fears steal tonight's sleep, or choosing to forgive a hurtful word even without an apology. It might be looking in the mirror, seeing wrinkles that tell your story, and saying to yourself, "I don't need to be perfect. I just need to trust." Each time you let go even a little, you're entrusting your story to the one who writes the most beautiful chapters, even from pages that seem torn. And as you step out into a crisp morning, feeling the fresh air of a new day, you'll see that letting go doesn't diminish you. It helps you grow, not in the world's measures of dazzling success or full bank accounts, but in the way your soul becomes free. Your heart lightens. You'll hear birds sing in the trees, see sunlight glow on the path, and know that though the road ahead has twists, you're not alone. A sacred hand holds you, guiding you through the dark, promising light is always ahead if you dare to let go and trust. As the first dawn breaks, casting fragile rays through the leaves outside your porch, you stand there cradling a warm cup of coffee, gazing at the gravel path before your yard. The burdens of last night, unpaid bills, sharp words from an argument, or fears of a foggy future still linger in your mind. But after daring to let go, after whispering a prayer in the darkness, a new sensation stirs like the morning breeze slipping through, carrying a promise. Not everything will be fixed instantly, but you don't have to walk alone. Faith, like an invisible bridge spanning a stormy river, waits for you to step onto it, leading you from fragile surrender to a profound peace beyond understanding. Faith doesn't always arrive like a whirlwind sweeping you into certainty. Sometimes it's just a faint light flickering at the road's end as you drive through familiar intersections, the radio softly playing an old tune, and your heart recalls times when life seemed to crumble, yet somehow you made it through. Faith doesn't demand you have all the answers, nor require you to be as unyielding as a mountain or as steady as a river. It only asks for one step, even if your feet tremble, even if your heart is full of doubt. It's the moment you look in the mirror, see the wrinkles telling stories of years gone by, and whisper to yourself, "I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I trust the one who knows the way." The bridge of faith isn't built with grandiose promises or instant miracles. It's woven from simple moments, like sitting on the old wooden bench in your yard listening to sparrows chirp and choosing not to let fear of next month's bills steal the joy of this morning. It's the choice you make standing before a broken relationship to forgive, not because the other deserves it, but because your soul needs freedom. Faith is when you drive home after a long day, the sunset blazing red on the horizon, and you recall ancient stories like Abraham waiting for a promise through endless years, or Job standing firm amid loss declaring, "Though he tests me, I will trust." They had no clear map, but they had a guide, and so do you. Some nights as streetlights cast their glow through your window, you feel that bridge sway as if each step might make you fall. Doubt whispers asking if you're fooling yourself, if there's truly an unseen hand holding you. But faith, even as fragile as a thread, is strong enough to keep you standing. It's not the absence of fear, but the decision not to let fear have the final word. It's the small flame burning in the valley, the song rising in the dark, the strength to rise when everything urges you to quit. And each time you choose to trust, whether in a brief prayer in your car or a silent nod to yourself, you're building another span of that bridge, drawing you closer to peace. That peace doesn't come like a flood washing away all troubles. It flows gently like cool water over the wounds in your heart, like sunlight piercing clouds after a storm. As you walk the bridge of faith, even with hesitant steps, you'll sense a sacred presence, like a companion who never leaves. It's the one who saw you in the days you laughed around the family table, and the nights you sat alone, tears falling silently. He doesn't demand perfection or require all the answers. He only invites you to trust moment by moment, breath by breath, and let him guide you through life's turns. As you step off the porch onto the gravel path to start a new day carrying your coffee and a lighter heart, you'll see that faith doesn't smooth every bump in the road, but it makes you stronger to walk it. That bridge, though invisible, is real, built from prayers, moments of letting go, and choices to trust the one who holds tomorrow. And as you continue your journey, the light of peace grows clearer, like a street lamp guiding you home, whispering that you're never alone, and your destination, though distant, is always a place of light. As the sunset falls, gilding the gravel road home, you sit on the old wooden bench in the backyard, holding a fragrant cup of tea, its steam rising into the cool evening air. Leaves rustle under a gentle breeze, singing a soft song. But within you, today's storms linger. A doctor's call with bad news, a new bill added to the pile, or an old memory resurfacing. Yet, having taken first steps on the bridge of faith, daring to release burdens, a new feeling creeps in, like light sparkling on a still lake. It's peace, not the absence of storms, but the presence of a greater being, embracing your heart with love that never fades. Peace doesn't come like a flood sweeping away troubles, nor as a moment when all life's questions find answers. It arrives gently, like cool water flowing over deep wounds, like sparrows chirping outside your window at dawn. I recall an autumn years ago, facing a great loss. My closest friend passed after a sudden illness. Those days, I drove familiar suburban roads, an old hymn on the radio, but my heart was heavy, as if the world had collapsed. I prayed, cried, asked God why, but answers seemed silent. Then one afternoon, sitting on this bench, watching kids bike and laugh, A breeze brought a strange comfort. I heard a whisper within, "I am here, even in your pain." For the first time, I felt peace, not because the pain vanished, but because I knew I wasn't alone. That peace, like sunlight piercing clouds after a storm, doesn't promise to erase all hardships. It reminds you that, though bills pile up, family arguments linger, or the future remains unclear, a being walks beside you, holding your hand through each turn. You've seen those moments, haven't you? Sitting in your small kitchen, watching the overhead light twinkle, realizing that despite today's trials, you can smile, knowing tomorrow rests in the hands of one who never sleeps. Peace is driving home after a long day, the sunset blazing red and feeling your heart lighten as if a warm blanket shields you from life's chill. My story isn't unique. I once spoke with a neighbor, John, an elderly man with silver hair and eyes full of stories. He shared that after retirement, he felt purposeless, as if years of work left a void nothing could fill. He tried finding joy in fishing trips or family gatherings, but his heart remained heavy. Then one day, in a small church near home, hearing a sermon on trusting God, he decided to let go, not of dreams, but of that emptiness, giving it to God. He began praying each morning, not for miracles, but simply, "Lord, guide me through today." He told me, with a kind smile, "I don't know what changed, but I started feeling lighter, like I didn't need all the answers anymore." Peace isn't a destination reached after every problem's solved. It's a gift received mid-journey, when you dare to trust the guide knows the way. As you step out, old coat on and a heart learning to trust, you'll see peace doesn't smooth the road but makes each step meaningful. It's the street lamp glowing in the night, the quiet song in your heart, reminding you that though storms rage, you're sheltered. And as you journey on, with sunset behind and dawn ahead, you'll see peace isn't just a moment but a companion, sent by the one who loves you more than you know. As the moon hangs in the suburban sky, casting silver light on the glistening gravel road, you stand by the window, clutching an old book, perhaps a worn Bible or a poetry collection that once comforted you through long days. The night breeze slips through, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass, but within you old wounds still smolder. A hurtful word from a loved one, a shattered dream from your youth, or a creeping loneliness, as if you're a shadow in life's bustling stream. You've released burdens, walked the bridge of faith, and found moments of peace. But even in this stillness, you wonder, does anyone truly see me, understand me when I can't find the words? Then, like a star flaring in the night, a sacred truth dawns: God isn't just far off. He's here now, closer than your breath, loving you with a love that never fades. God's presence doesn't always come with thunder or dazzling light. It often arrives softly, like leaves rustling in the yard, the warmth of this morning's tea, or a loved one's gentle touch when you needed it most. I recall a cold winter standing by my mother's grave, snow falling silently over everything. Years of caring for her through illness left a wordless void. I wondered if I'd done enough, if she knew how much I loved her. That night, in a quiet house, I sat by the fireplace, watching flames crackle, feeling the world had left me behind. But as I closed my eyes, a clumsy prayer escaped: "Lord, be with me." In that moment, I felt a warm presence, like my mother's embrace from childhood, whispering I wasn't alone. It wasn't a miracle erasing pain, but a sacred comfort reminding me God sees every tear, hears every sigh, and loves me even when I can't love myself. God isn't like those who've left you a friend who promised to stay, but vanished, a colleague who turned away when you needed them, or relationships faded by time. His love is a deep, wide river flowing endlessly toward you, undeterred by your failures, doubts, or wanderings. You've felt it, haven't you? Driving suburban roads, the radio playing Amazing Grace, and a sudden comfort rising as if someone's listening to your heart. Or sitting in a small church on Sunday morning, sunlight streaming through stained glass, feeling a sacred connection you can't explain. God is there in the moments you laugh around the family table and the nights you sit alone, tears falling silently. He doesn't flinch at your scars or leave when you stumble, but steps in, takes your hand, and walks with you through every valley. My story reminds me of Mary, a woman I met at a church prayer group. Over 70, with a kind smile, but eyes full of sad stories, she shared that after her husband's death she felt abandoned, not just by family, but by life itself. Mornings, she'd sit by her window, watching sparrows fly past, wondering if she still mattered. But one day, reading the verse, "God counts the hairs on your head," she felt a sacred presence, as if God sat beside her whispering, "You are still my treasure." She began a prayer journal, noting moments she felt God near through sunsets, her grandchild's smile, or morning stillness. She told me, "I thought I was invisible, but now I know God sees me. And that's enough." God's presence is a sacred home, not of bricks, but of grace, mercy, and unfailing love. It's where you're called by name, your shame sheltered, your broken dreams healed. As you step out, scarf around your neck, and a heart learning to trust, you'll see God's love isn't a distant promise, but a real companion walking with you through every turn. It's the moonlight guiding dark nights, bird song greeting new days, the strength to rise when everything says quit. And as you journey on with stars above and gravel below, you'll see God's presence doesn't just bring peace, it reminds you that you are seen, loved, and cherished forever. As dawn breaks, filtering through the trees in your yard, you stand on the porch holding a steaming cup of coffee, watching dew sparkle on the grass. Sparrows chirp like a greeting to the new day. But within you, shadows of the past quietly rise, a sharp word from years ago, a missed chance, or a wound unhealed from days long gone. You've learned to release burdens, walk the bridge of faith, feel peace, and sense God's presence. But the past, like an old river, tries to pull you back, whispering that you are your mistakes, your losses, your broken dreams. And in that moment, as the first sunlight touches your shoulder, a sacred voice rises, gentle yet strong. "You are not your past. Release it into my hands and let me heal you." Releasing the past isn't erasing memories or denying what happened. It's a holy act, like setting a heavy stone by the riverbank, letting God's grace wash away burdens that no longer belong to you. I recall a spring a few years back, sitting in my small room, flipping through old letters from a friend lost to a misunderstanding. Each word cut like a knife, reopening pain and self-blame. I carried that bitterness like an old tattered coat, heavy and worn, yet unable to discard because it felt part of me. One morning, walking a gravel path near home, sunlight piercing the trees, I knelt in my heart praying, "Lord, take this resentment, for I can't carry it anymore." In that stillness, I felt an invisible door open, letting healing light flood in, whispering, I didn't need to live in the shadow of days gone by. God, in His boundless love, never wastes your pain. He sees every tear you've cried in the night, every smile you forced for others, every step you dragged through dark valleys. He doesn't ask you to forget the past, but invites you to place it in His hands like a potter, shaping broken clay into a new masterpiece. My story reminds me of Thomas, a man I met at a church group. Once a successful banker, a bad career choice cost him everything: job, reputation, self-worth. He shared how he'd sit in his garage nightly, staring at boxes of relics from his glory days, wondering if he deserved a fresh start. But one day, reading the verse, "I make all things new," he wrote a letter, not to anyone, but to God, listing every regret and mistake. He tore it up, let the pieces float down a nearby river, and prayed, "Lord, rewrite my story." From then, he felt a new freedom, as if invisible chains fell, finding joy in small things, like teaching neighborhood kids to fish. Releasing the past is a sacred journey requiring you to open your heart to God's grace. It's choosing not to build your future with bricks of bitterness or resentment, but with hope and trust. You've felt it, haven't you? Washing dishes after dinner in your kitchen, realizing old blames no longer weigh as heavily. Or driving through suburban roads, the sunset blazing red and smiling, not because everything's perfect, but because you're healing. God, like a patient father, doesn't just see your scars. He turns them into paths to beauty. He promises to restore lost years, turn pain into songs, and give beauty for ashes. As you step off the porch, grabbing your coat and a heart learning to heal, you'll see that releasing the past doesn't diminish you. It helps you grow, not in the world's measure, but in the freedom of your soul, the lightness of your heart, the gravel under your feet, sunlight on your shoulders, and birdsong in the trees remind you God is writing a new chapter for you, one of hope, purpose, and love. And as you journey on with dawn ahead and the past behind, you'll see healing isn't just a destination, but a sacred gift you receive daily when you dare to let go and let God lead. As the fiery sunset fades into night, you sit in the small kitchen, the overhead light twinkling above the dining table where freshly washed dishes still glisten with water. The TV hums from the living room, mingling with children's laughter from the yard, but within you worries quietly stir. A new bill arrives, a tense conversation with a colleague, or concern for a loved one's health. You've learned to release the past, feel God's presence, and find moments of peace. But life, like a ceaseless river, brings new challenges daily. And in the gentle glow of that kitchen, a sacred invitation rises like birdsong before dawn. Live in trust, surrender each day to me, and let me guide you through the turns. Trust isn't just a moment. It's a way of life, a choice you make each morning and night to let go and let God write your story. Trust isn't a grand gesture like scaling a mountain or crossing an ocean. It's small, simple steps, like waking up, standing before the bathroom mirror, looking into your tired eyes and whispering, "Lord, today I give you all my worries." I recall a tough period when my job hit a dead end each day, a string of stressful emails and sleepless nights. I tried controlling everything, making lists, planning. But the harder I tried, the more I felt like sinking in quicksand. One morning, standing by the window, watching sunlight dance on the trees, I decided to try something different. I took a piece of paper, wrote down my fears from finances to the future, and prayed, "Lord, I can't carry this anymore. Please take it." No instant answers came, but each day I repeated that prayer like a breath, and slowly I felt relief, as if a warm blanket had been draped over my shoulders, reminding me I didn't have to fight alone. Living in trust is turning surrender into a sacred habit, like brewing coffee each morning or checking mail at night. It's choosing not to let fear of tomorrow steal today's joy, forgiving hurtful words without waiting for an apology, and walking forward though the path ahead is unclear. My story reminds me of Anna, a single mother I met at a community event. She worked 2 shifts to raise 3 kids, yet her smile shone like a street lamp in the dark. She shared that after her husband left, she lived in bitterness each day, a battle to keep things from falling apart. But one evening, reading a bedtime story to her kids, she heard a hymn on the radio, "Nearer, my God, to Thee." She began praying nightly, not for miracles, but for strength to face tomorrow. She told me I learned to surrender each day, bills, fears, and God always gave me enough to keep going. Her smile proved trust doesn't erase problems, but makes you stronger to face them. Living in trust is letting God be the author of your story. Each morning, as you step out with your old briefcase and a ready heart, you can pray, "Lord, guide me through today." Each night in the dimly lit kitchen, you can whisper, "Lord, I give you what I can't fix." These prayers, though brief, are bridges to grace, anchors in the storm. And as you live this way, each day becomes a gift, not because it's perfect, but because you know you're sheltered by a hand that never lets go. The gravel path outside the sunset on the horizon and the night breeze's song are reminders that God walks with you, turning trials into chances to grow in love and faith. As you leave the kitchen, turn off the light, and slip into sleep, you carry a sacred stillness like moonlight on the road. Living in trust doesn't make you a superhero or erase every hardship, but it gives you a free heart, a light soul, and an unquenchable hope. And as you journey on with dawn ahead and burdens left behind, you'll see each day as a new invitation to let go, to trust, and to let God lead you home. When the silvery moonlight bathes the gravel path leading home, you sit on an old wooden bench in the yard cradling a cup of cold tea, your eyes tracing the twinkling stars in the suburban sky. The night breeze hums softly, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass, but within you questions about life's journey echo quietly, the days gone by with their joys and sorrows, the challenges ahead, and where your ultimate destination lies. You've learned to let go of burdens, to walk across the bridge of faith, to feel God's presence, to release the past, and to live each day in trust. Yet in the stillness of this night, a sacred call rises like light from a distant lighthouse. Continue your journey, for I have prepared a place for you, an eternal home where peace forever reigns. The journey home is not just steps on a gravel path, but a spiritual pilgrimage leading you to the loving arms of God, where all fears dissolve and every wound is healed. The journey home is not a destination you reach when all problems are resolved, or a moment when you stand at heaven's gate with a perfect smile. It is a sacred connection unfolding in ordinary moments, when you wash dishes in a small kitchen under dim light and feel sudden comfort, or when you drive down a familiar road, the radio playing, "Nearer My God to Thee," and your heart stirs with hope. I recall a cold winter when I sat in the living room watching snow fall outside the window, gripped by an unnamed loneliness. My job was unsteady, my family faced fractures, and I wondered if I was on the right path. One night, as I opened my grandmother's old Bible, I read, "In my Father's house are many rooms," John 14:2. I prayed not for miracles, but to feel I belonged somewhere. In that silence, I felt God whisper, "You are on your way home, and I am guiding you step by step." That was when I understood the journey home is not just the endpoint, but God's companionship, even in the darkest days. God, in His boundless love, is not only the guide, but the home you seek. He is the shelter when life's storms rage, the light that shines through darkness, and the welcoming embrace when you are weary. My story reminds me of David, a mechanic I met at a small church. He was once an alcoholic, having lost his family and home to his mistakes. He shared that in his darkest days he slept under bridges, believing his life was over. But one night, sitting by a small fire, a stranger gave him a Bible and said, "God is still waiting for you." He began reading, and the verse, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock," Revelation 3:20, brought him to tears. He prayed for God to lead him to a place he could call home. Slowly, he overcame addiction, found work, and now teaches neighborhood youth how to fix cars, his smile radiant. He told me, "I used to think home was walls and a roof, but now I know home is God. He is where I belong." The journey home is an invitation to live each day with faith that you are not lost no matter how rough the road. It is the choice to rise after every fall, to forgive yourself and others, and to trust that every step has meaning in God's greater plan. You felt it, haven't you? When you sit in church on a Sunday morning, sunlight streaming through stained glass, and you sense a sacred connection as if God is beside you. Or when you stand by your child's bed, watching them sleep, knowing that though imperfect, you are guided by a loving hand. God doesn't promise a smooth path, but He promises never to let you walk alone. He is the lamp lighting your way, the Father running to meet the prodigal son, and the one who turns broken days into an eternal song. As you leave the bench, step inside, and close the door, you carry a sacred hope like moonlight in your heart. The journey home does not end with a golden gate or a trumpet's call, but in moments when you feel God closer, more loving, and more real. The gravel path beneath your feet, The sparrow's morning chatter and the fiery sunset on the horizon are reminders that you are being led to a prepared place, a home where eternal peace reigns, where all pain fades and every dream is fulfilled. And as you continue your journey with dawn ahead and challenges behind you, realize each step is a whisper from God. My child, you are coming home.